reality, and that's real. So we have to get out of all of those systems, because Ifa, Regla de Ocha, Santeria, whatever you want to call it, has different names, because when you compare the two, the way Santeria is practiced amongst Latinos and the way it's practiced in Africa is two totally different things. I'm telling you this because I'm initiated head of Oshun, okay? Father is Ogun. I'm telling, again, as I said earlier, I'm teaching from experience. I'm not teaching from reading books. That's why I told you everything that I'm talking about tonight, and this is my job, is to encourage you to live the experience and not read about it. Because reading about it is only going to get you so far. Reading about it is only going to give you so much knowledge. And everything, I'm going to tell you this, especially with a lot of these traditional African spiritual systems, you don't get it. Half of the shit in the book is not really accurate, I'm going to be honest with you. Most of this stuff is mouth to ear. The stuff in the books is for surface people that they want you to see. If you really want to know the hidden meanings of the initiations, you need to go through them. That's what I tell people. You can read about them, but it's not the same thing. It doesn't leave the same impression on the subconscious mind. Another aspect of magic, which is powerful, we talked about this on the show Thursday night, the pantheon of Voodoo. Okay, the different paths of what they call Voodoo. You have different spirits that you can work in that. Now that kind of gets a little bit more intricate, because now you're going back into Palo and Egun worship in West Africa, and that's something I've been scratched in, and that's something that can be very intense. It appears on the surface to look very disturbing, because most people don't know what it is. So they see some of the rituals, and to them it's bizarre because it's unknown to them, so they don't know what it is. You understand? You have deities. We had a sister that called in the show. You have Dembella, Papa Legba. You have Urzili, Baron Samedi, which is a powerful deity. And this deals with the different paths of the pantheon of the Voodoo deities, which that deals with some of the black arts. Now, when, for example, Gidi, which is another aspect of Baron Samedi, when you talk about these deities, they say the deity of death. And I want to clarify that. People say, well, not death in the sense of gloom and doom and destruction. Death in, when you go to these deities and you access this archetype energy, what you're doing is giving up all your old ways. It's the death to a rebirth of a new life. That's why they're all affiliated with that symbol of death. That's why there's rituals done at graveyards and cemeteries and things of that nature. Because what it does is connect you to a new rebirth. So when they say that they're deities of death, like Gidi is, or Baron Samedi, what that basically is saying is they're the connection to what we would call the spiritual world or the afterlife. No different than when you look at Anubu or Anubis in Egypt, he would be a deity of death. And I said this on the show the other night. To show that people practice black magic that are Christians, ask a Christian why they wear black to a funeral and they can't give you a biblical answer. It's nowhere in the Bible. The reason why they do is because whether they're conscious of it or not, that goes back to an ancient Egyptian ritual. They wore black to funerals in Egypt. And it ties into Anubu, the black Egyptian jackal dog of the dead. And he's the connection from the physical world to the spiritual world. So Christians are worshiping Anubis every time they go to a funeral wearing all black. It's nowhere in the Bible. They can't show it to you. They'll be there all day trying to find it. There's many other things they do are very Egyptian, very occultic and metaphysical, because half of the shit they do ain't even in their Bible. Because it all was ciphered from Egypt and Africa anyway. But that's a whole nother story. Oh, I don't want to get into the whole religious thing. Go ahead.
I often wonder why the Bible always is black.
Mm-hmm. You mean the actual cover?
Came out was black.
Correct. That's a good point. Because symbolicism behind that. I always ask them, when somebody wants to debate Bible with you, ask them, what does the word Bible mean? Because if they can't tell you that, I don't want to debate the contents if you don't even know what on the cover means. Now, the word Bible, those that may or may not know, and this is a good way to build with them, because you're going to find out the average Christian knows nothing about their Bible. And for those that know me over the years, I mean, how many classes in the last 25 years, I could take you through Genesis to Revelations, I could take you through all 114 chapters of the Quran. We could do this all week. In the original language. I'm not talking about in the English. I'm talking about in the original language. And you're going to find most people don't even know their Bible in their original language. They want to debate with you in a translation in the last 15, 20 years that was done in English. That's very poor. That's very done badly. And it's been changed intentionally for many different reasons. But always tell them the word Biblios. It just means small book. That's not a small book. Now I asked them what that means. If they don't know what it means on the cover, then there's no need to have a conversation. We don't need to converse anymore. I don't care what's on the inside, because you don't even know what's on the cover. You know, same thing with the word Quran. Ask an American convert to Islam. Do they even know what Quran means? It comes from the word ikra, to read. It's the reading. That's all it means. But ask them these things, because not to insult them or make them look bad, but to show them, if you're going to step out, sharpen your tools and know what you're talking about. Don't come at people with the intent. Don't see, the problem is with religious people, and I've seen this over the 25. I've had people come to my class, sit right in the front, and I already can smell them a mile away that they felt like they come in here because they want to prove that what they know is right and their way is right and everybody else is wrong. And those that have been in classes in the last 25 years, you've seen. I had 2 Islamic cats back in the 90s, came full garb, sat down, and I started conversing with them in Arabic, and they couldn't even communicate with me in Arabic. And I told them, I said, you need to go back to your imam who's teaching you and get a little more clarification, because you guys don't know what you're talking about. And they couldn't even hold basic conversation. Now the point being is, because we convert to a lot of these religions in America, and none of them really belong to us. That's the problem. How many we know cats that go to jail and come out now all of a sudden they're Muslims and they're 5%ers or they saved? See, what happens is when people get to the lowest point in their life, they look for a crutch to lean on. And usually religion fills that void. So they used stupid ass terms like, I'm saved. Saved from what? You understand? The power that you're given to that salvation is created by you anyway. Now the question you need to ask yourself, do you need God, or does God really need you? You gotta really think about that for a minute, because we keep those concepts alive. Same thing I tell Christians, if the devil is so evil, stop talking about him. You're giving it life every time you're saying the devil's a lie, and you get up there and do these sermons on the devil is. Well, more you keep talking about that fictitious concept of the devil, you're giving it life. See, they know these things. They do this shit intentionally, because religion's job is to instill fear into you. Fear controls your emotions. So if I tell you, here's the game, you got free will, but there's some repercussions for that free will. So you really don't have free will, because they tell you you can do whatever you want, but if you don't follow the rules, the laws, the regulations in this way, you're going to go to some place called hell and get tortured forever for the rest of your life by some fictitious creature on a hot sauce bottle with a pitchfork. This is the bullshit they feed us. But if you're good, you're going to go to heaven. You know what that also breeds? Laziness, failure, unsuccessful people. Because most people, and this is not a knock, that are poor and struggling, you're going to find they're very religious. Because they have this notion in their mind, though they're suffering here, they feel like in the afterlife, I have pie in the sky waiting for me, it's going to be better. There's more over the horizon. And don't confuse being spiritual with being broke, because that's the biggest bullshit lie. We have another group amongst us that thinks being some type of poor, desolate monk and being spiritual, we're supposed to be successful people. We're supposed to reach in our pocket. Anytime we want to pull out some money, we're supposed to have money. I'm not talking about being a millionaire, because when you petition the cosmic and you ask for what you need, not what you want, there's a difference. Most of us are miserable because we're chasing things that we want. And that's not what this is about. When you access the forces of black magic, we're going to talk about the subjective universe and the objective universe. When you ask and work with things that you need, don't confuse that for what you want. And I find most people chase things they want their whole life, and their life is a mess, because they're chasing stuff and they don't realize there's other things about themselves they need to fix. Their head isn't right. They need to work on their psyche. They need to work on the immediate surroundings around them. They got people around them that are no good for them. They might be in a relationship that's horrible and it's bringing them down. And they're looking everywhere outside of themselves for the answers, but they don't want to take any responsibility for themselves. That's what greater black magic is about. And that's what this is about. We don't blame anybody for our problems. We take full responsibility for them. That's bottom line. That if you say you're God, that's the big thing in the conscious community. Black man's God. Black woman's a goddess. Ask people, what does that mean to you? Because you're going to find out that's still a very religious term to some people. Because when you say the black man is God, don't spit this whole Nation of Islam shit to me, 5% thing, because that's religion. That's not what it means to me. Now, perception is going to vary. Everybody's going to perceive things on varying degrees of vibration. When you go back into the 7 Hermetic principles, and most people who are so into math, as I've said a million times, don't know anything about the 7 Hermetic principles. They want to talk about Egyptian math. Well, Ma'at is a manifestation of the objective universe, the physical law, and the 7 Hermetic principles is a manifestation of the subjective universe. Okay? And you need to master both to understand what the whole Egyptian pantheon was really about. First principle, all is mental, mental is all. Nothing exists outside the subconscious mind. Even if you say, well Brother Beniti, I speak to spirits. My grandmother comes to me in my dreams. I sleep at night and I feel something pressing down in my chest. I've had sleep paralysis. I know there's plenty of women in here that have felt like spirits have had sex with them while they're sleeping. There's explanations for all that stuff. There's reasons for all that stuff. Okay? When you tap into the superconscious, you're going to find out, you can see your grandmother, a deceased aunt, your mother, come to you in a form and communicate with you. It's still your higher, your superconscious, because you're manifesting that thought. Once you get to the subjective universe, nothing is impossible, because you're outside of person, place, and thing. You're not vibrating on 3 density no more. This is why, while in human form, you can astrally travel by way of your dreams through various states of meditation. And that's where you're going to get the answers to a lot of the questions. Not everything is written in a book. The books are supposed to push you to where you need to be. You're supposed to study them so you get the concepts in your mind. You understand? And it's different forms of magic. So I want to clarify this. Lesser black magic would be working with the objective universe, right? This is a book. This is an object, right? So if I start reading concepts in here, I'm working with the objective universe. If I start to go into higher states of meditation by way of frequency and vibration and astrally travel, now I'm dealing with the subjective universe. I'm outside of the objective. The answers are in the subjective, not the objective. The problem is most people are teaching about the objective universe when they give their explanations of the creator. You can't explain who and what God is defined by person, place, and thing. Because if I go around the room, what's God? I ask everybody, you're going to give me a human definition. And it's going to either fall into the category of person, place, or thing based on how we perceive it. Everybody's going to have their own perception of what the creator is to them. And guess what? It's all right and none of it's wrong. Because that's the way you perceive it. We got to stop this right and wrong shit. Because if I went around and asked everybody that question, everything everybody said would be correct to them. That's the whole point. Because that's where they are in their journey. Because there is no such thing as right and wrong. Another principle, 7 Hermetic principle, the doctrine of vibration. There's no such thing as evil. It's just a varying degree of vibrational energy. You perceive it as evil because you might see something that's evil, but I might not look at it the same way. So we're looking at varying degrees of vibrational energy. That's it. So you might see some ritual and go, oh man, that looks crazy. That looks evil. I might see it and say, man, that looks very spiritual and enticing to me. So what just happened there? We tapped into a different vibrational energy. That's it. How do you know that that's true? And I've said this before. We all go to parties or gatherings or places. We walk in and go, man, it's a good vibe in here. I like the vibe in here tonight. We all do that. Let's be real. Then we go to some place and go, man, I'm not feeling this shit. It feels a negative vibe is in here. Some negative people in here. So don't tell me that that's not a reality, because it is. It's the same way when you deal with truth. We perceive it on that same level. We are the ones, the soul controllers and governors of our spirituality. There is no external God in the sky pulling strings, controlling everything for you. There is no God you can look at and look, the world is confirming it. You see shit crumbling right in front of you. God can't fix your problems right now. You have to. Say that shit again. There is no God coming for you. You might believe that. That's your opinion. I will guarantee you, we'll be long gone and Jesus will still not have come back. Because they told that shit to your mother, to your grandmother, to your great-grandmother. They're all dead and gone. We're going to be gone. Still, no Jesus will be here. Because the only person that's coming back for you, look in the damn mirror. And that's what this is about. Because if you're able to tap into the higher aspect of your subconscious mind, you'll be able to access that energy. Does anybody have any questions? Before we continue on, we're gonna
that was a question I was asking you.
Okay.
About why is the Bible